All right. It's just about 9 o'clock. If I can have everyone's attention. Thank you, everyone, for coming tonight. It's been a busy week for a lot of us, but I appreciate you all taking out of your time and coming down here and learning, and the commitment that you see with a lot of you is really incredible. So thank you for that, and I think you all deserve a round of applause for that. Tonight we have a very brave speaker, someone that, well, actually, I'll just give a basic introduction because I don't think there's, I don't think it's too complicated, I guess. So, the president of the Board of TORCH is here tonight, and he has been coming every so often to join us at Partners in Torah, and he very graciously offered to speak tonight. So, just would like to introduce Dan Kullman to come up and speak.
45 miles. 45 miles.
Yes, I get there as often as my schedule will allow me to drive out here from Kingwood. So last week I was reading a fantastic book, The Garden of Gratitude, and in there is a quote from Rabbi Natana, student of Rabbi Nachman, and he said something that floored me, and because it was very heavy. And what he was saying was he expounded on an idea from Maimonides and his 13 principles of faith. And he says the following: if one does not know that every single finite element of their life is being orchestrated by God, and also know that everything that God is doing is for their best interest and for their good, if they don't recognize that and know that to be true, then it doesn't matter if they say, I believe in God all day long. In reality, they're an atheist. Pretty harsh. It took me a while to digest that truth, but sometimes truth is hard to digest. But when I reasoned it through, it made total sense. Because if I were to deem something in my life as being bad, then what I am saying is that God does not have infinite intelligence. He is not outside of time, and he is not a source of all goodness. So I would be, in fact, denying him his essence and denying God. So it does make sense, although it's a hard pill to swallow. But that got me thinking last week during my work week. I kept thinking, why do I work so hard in my occupation? Is it because I'm putting effort in to make more money? Because if that's the case, I'm denying God's providence that he controls how much money I make. So that can't be the reason. And then I thought, well, maybe I'm putting all this effort in so I will come up with innovative ideas and help my company succeed and get the honor of my coworkers and people in my industry. That would be me engaging in the idolatry of the ego. And that would also be a denial of God. So I kept asking myself, why are you working so hard? What do you really influence with all of this? And like everything, we're so fortunate as Jews because whenever you have a question in your mind or a problem you want to solve, you just have to look to the weekly Parsha. And in this week's Parsha, we learned about the building of the Mishkan. And we learned about how God told Moshe to tell the Jewish people to donate supplies so they can build a Mishkan, Hashem's dwelling place in this world. And the Nevi'im made a calculation. They decided that what God really wanted was for them to make all the donations because they didn't participate in the sin of the golden calf. But they calculated incorrectly because they excluded a certain variable from their equation, and that was the innate generosity of the Jewish people. So, because before they knew it, all the donations had been made, and they had nothing left to donate. And in their grief over that, their underestimation of the Jewish people, their inability to donate anything, God did a miracle for them. And it says in, I think it was Yoma, in one of the Gemara, that God brought down precious stones from the heavens with their daily portion of manna. so that they could donate those precious stones to the Kohen Gadol for their breastplates and their aprons. And then the Parsha also talks about Bezalel. Am I pronouncing that right? Right. And it talks about how he was the main architect, the one that was building all the items for the Mishkan. And because he put all his effort into it, just not just intellectual and energy, but just spiritual effort into understanding exactly how God wanted him to build all these items for the Mishkan. And because he put all his effort into it, he was able to get great insights, and all the insights, not only how to build these things, but also to know the spiritual component behind it. And so all this gave me the answer I was looking for to my question, which was, I was asking the wrong question. It's not about, why am I working so hard? The question I need to ask myself before I begin my workday, that really we all do, is, what are we building? And the answer is, we're working to build a Mishkan as well, a dwelling place for God, in our hearts, in our homes, in our communities. And just like how, if even though my efforts are not going to have a direct result on how much money I make, but they are an expression of my desire to build a dwelling place for God. And my livelihood is really just a conduit to provide resources to construct that mission. So if I take that mindset, that what I'm really trying to do is build a dwelling place for God, then just like precious stones came to the Nevi'im, just like ideas came to Bezalel, then just like that, just for us as well as we begin our endeavors during the week in our occupations, if we keep in mind what we're really trying to build, then God will give us all the financial resources we need to fulfill mitzvot, to give tzedakah, to help out the needy, to support Torah learning so other people can build dwelling places for God. If we just keep that in mind, He'll give us all the resources that we need. So I want to thank all of you for studying Torah and continuing to build a dwelling place for God in your hearts, your homes, this beautiful Torch Center, and the community. Thank you.